Welcome to this video on the Automic Automation SAP BTP integration solution. In this video, we will explain the SAP BTP integration and what it brings to the Automic Automation user community. It allows customers to schedule and monitor jobs for any of the service instances that exist on the SAP BTP cockpit and are bound to an application. We'll provide some technical insights so that the integration components are clearly identified and the deployment sequence is understood. We'll focus on the configuration of the agent and the design of the two core object templates, connections, and jobs. Finally, we'll run through a demo. Automic Automation plays a central role in orchestrating operations across multiple environments, including the cloud. Automic Automation synchronizes these processes with other non-cloud operations. By integrating SAP BTP, we can centrally configure process automation in Automic Automation and then trigger, monitor, and supervise everything in one place. SAP BTP processes can then be synchronized with all other environments routinely supported by Automic Automation, like applications and databases. SAP BTP's role is reduced to start the jobs. All other functions, especially those pertaining to automation, are delegated to Automic Automation. This means that we don't have to log into the SAP BTP environment and keep on refreshing it by ourselves. Automic Automation manages all the execution and monitoring aspects. Automic Automation lets us build configurations with intuitive interfaces like drag-and-drop workflows and supervise them in simple dashboard tools designed natively for operations. Statuses are color-coded, and retrieving logs is done with a basic right-click. From an operations perspective, Automic Automation highly simplifies the configuration and orchestration of SAP BTP jobs. Externalizing operations to a tool with a high degree of third-party integration means we can synchronize all cloud with non-cloud workload. Using various agents and job object types, we can build sophisticated configurations involving multiple applications, database packages, system processes like backups and data consolidation, file transfers, web services, and other on-premise workload. A conventional architecture involves two systems, the Automic Automation host and a dedicated system for the agent. The agent is configured with a simple INI file containing standard values: AE system, agent name, connection, and TLS. When we start the agent, it connects to the engine, and it adds two new objects to the repository: a connection object to store the SAP BTP endpoint and login data, and a job template designed to trigger SAP BTP jobs. Let's assume we're automating 4 instances of SAP BTP. We create a connection object in Automic Automation for each instance by duplicating the con template for each of these instances. Lastly, we create SAP BTP scheduler jobs in Automic Automation for each corresponding process in SAP BTP. The Automic Automation jobs include the connection object based on the target system. When we execute the jobs in Automic Automation, they trigger the corresponding process in SAP BTP. We're able to retrieve the successive statuses, supervise the processes in SAP BTP, and finally generate a job report. In Automic Automation, this SAP BTP scheduler job can be incorporated in workflows and integrated with other non-cloud processes. The procedure to deploy the SAP BTP integration is as follows. First, we download the integration package from Marketplace. This package contains all the necessary elements. We unzip this package, which produces a directory containing the agent, the INI configuration files, and several other items, like the start command. We use the appropriate INI file for our specific platform. SAP BTP is a standard Automic agent. It requires at least 4 values to be updated: agent name, Automic system, JCP connection, TLS port, and finally, TLS certificate. When the agent is configured, we start it. New object templates are deployed. We create a connection object for every SAP BTP instance we need to support. For this, we use the template con object, which we duplicate as many times as we need. The con object references the SAP BTP endpoint. Finally, we use the SAP BTP job template to create the jobs we need. We match this Automic Automation job to the SAP BTP Start template job, reference the connection object, and run it. We're able to supervise the jobs, generate logs, and retrieve the status. The job can then be incorporated into non-cloud workflows. We install, configure, and start an agent to deploy the SAP BTP integration. The agent is included in the SAP BTP package, which we download from Marketplace. We unzip the package, which creates a file system agents/SAP BTP/bin that contains the agent files. Based on the platform, we rename the agent configuration file UCXJCIDX and set a minimum of 4 values: the agent name, the AE system name, the host name and port connection to the automation engine's JCP, and finally, the directory containing the TLS certificate. Finally, we start the agent by invoking the JR file via the Java command. The agent connects to AE and deploys the object templates needed to support the integration, the con or connection object, and the SAP BTP job template. In our demo, we will create a connection object. Once we have established the connection to the SAP BTP environment, we'll create a scheduler job. Finally, we'll execute and supervise the job. Applications are one of the essential elements of the integration. They are necessary to make custom apps or extensions for a specific purpose and to integrate them with other SAP solutions. We have already created an application on our SAP BTP cockpit. We can have several applications in several spaces. Once deployed, each application provides an HTTP endpoint that you can use to schedule jobs. You can do so in the SAP BTP Scheduler service, where you schedule the jobs that will be running the applications. We have already created various jobs in the SAP BTP Job Scheduling Service dashboard. For example, one job gets data from an application that provides multiple HTTP endpoints, another job writes data to the database, and so forth. You can schedule and monitor these jobs for any of the service instances that exist on the SAP BTP cockpit and are bound to an application from Automic Automation. Now, look at the SAP BTP connection object in Automic Automation. Let's create a SAP BTP connection object. The endpoint identifies the SAP BTP environment that we will connect to. SAP BTP connection objects support 2 types of authentication. The basic authentication requires the username and the password of the user with the privileges to access the SAP BTP environment. If you use the OAuth 2 authentication type, you will have to configure the following: the authentication endpoint that defines the token URL. With this token, we will get the token for the subsequent job. The client ID and the client secret are the copy of your username and password in the basic authentication. If you have a proxy server, simply enter the host name, port, username, and password. The connection object is ready. We can now use it to configure the SAP BTP Scheduler job object. As you see, we can select the connection object we have just created. We open a list containing the jobs available on our SAP BTP instance by clicking the Job ID browser button. We select the one with the job ID 1459373. Now, let's enter a description that helps to identify the scheduler job easily. In this example, we do not want to pass on payload data to SAP BTP. Therefore, we select None. Let's execute the job now. It starts and completes. Here is the log report. It was a short job. It just started, and the status directly changed to completed. The job report captures the information that SAP BPT sends to Automic Automation when the job has run. As you can see, it contains all relevant information about the job execution and its results. Let's verify the status of the job execution in the executions list. Here, we can see that the task has ended successfully and that the task's remote status is complete. This is the status of the job on the SAP BTP environment. In the Details pane, we can also see multiple output variables: the schedule ID from the SAP BTP system and the run ID for the respective job execution. Let's verify this with the log report. It shows exactly the same run ID. Now, let's go back to our SAP BTP environment and see what has happened there after we have executed the job in Automic Automation. There, we executed the job called Spartan Job with the job ID 1459373. We can double-check that this is the right job by looking at the description. This is the schedule that we created. We ran it once. If we open the Schedule Run Logs view, we see the schedule ID and the status of the schedule we started in Automic Automation. The status here is also complete. Thank you for watching this video.